Florida 4, Victor Charlie, King Henry 6, Foxtrot 4, Victor Charlie, QC. Roger, Jan, it's nice to meet you. You also fly tonight with QSC, and I come over the North Pole, the short path. You have a very good modulation, so we have no problem to copy you. QSL. Roger, 100% copy. I have to tell you, by the way, the name here is Oli. Kalima, India. Oli is the name. 73, take care, my friend. Hope to see you soon again. This is Kilo Hotel 6, Florida 4, Victor Charlie. Aloha.
other stuff, and of course, be able to keep a tone, stay in key, right? So it takes practice. It's not something you just casually do. And a lot of these guys that are metal singers are really intense singers, and they sing all this weird stuff, like or whatever, and they got all these different ranges of vocals. You'll find out that they were little church-going kids, and they were Bible-thumping kids, and of course they hated it, and they eventually grew their hair long and smoked weed, but they had to sing choir. They had to sing choir. They had to sing choir for years, decades, and they got really good at singing, whether they liked it or not. So when they rebelled and discovered they didn't have to sing choir, they realized they could sing other things, and they were set. We'll go for a walk, and like just speaking of Phil Rudd, for instance, AC/DC, super simple band, nothing fancy at all. They're like the most simple, straightforward band. But think about it. Behind every single AC/DC song is Phil Rudd's drums, right? You don't think about it because you got all these wild antics of the vocals, whether it was Bon Scott or it's been Brian Jones, or whether it's the guitar work of both of them, right? The Malcolm and Angus Young, right? You don't think about the drums, but that's the backbone of every single AC/DC song. All right, go have a good walk before it gets too hot later. WK6FU. No, it's true. Malcolm was a dude. Malcolm was the founder of the whole deal. And Angus was freaking 14 years old when he started, right? And he could just barely play, but he could play though. He had a style, and that's what's cool. See, those guys didn't go to school to learn how to do anything, man. They just started jamming and rocking out, and they did their thing. That's why they're so unique. They're so self-taught, and yeah, it is. That used to be one of my complaints way back when I first heard them back in the 70s, and I was like, well, it's kind of repetitive, right? And it wasn't that interesting to my ears at the time. But over the years, it's become interesting because I listened a little deeper, right? And repetitive music is not always as repetitive as you think. These little things can change. You don't catch it at first. But I think AC/DC is one of the world's greatest ever rock and roll bands. Period. Just as a rock band. They overcame a death of a great frontman, got another great frontman, and made a fortune. Good for them. Oh, wow. Do we have jammers? Oh, that's terrible, Ben. Did you ask for this? All right. Well, we'll let them do their thing. I'll be listening. This is Willie Killing 6, Foxtrot United. Obviously, you're getting over them. Oh, it's my great balls. Oh, yeah, this is big balls, right? And then they come and come again. Yeah, I remember this tune. I didn't realize what I was hearing. AC/DC, big balls. Yeah. All right, see you later. Go get your walk-in. All right, man. I'm just doing laundry. That's the excitement of my morning right now. See you guys later. Who's got big balls? Who's got big balls? She's got big balls. We've got big balls. They've got big balls. We've all got big balls, but I've got the... Oh, actually, it's we've got the biggest balls of the ball. But remember the other one? Dan Anderson, you got your balls through the wall, except...
just that there was no noise. Yeah, like I say, you're hitting me a plus 9+ today, so better than normal. Yeah, another 70 watts, so. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, anyhow, it's real cloudy here, so I don't think it's going to get too warm. I don't know if it's nice out there. Oh, a little wind, huh? Well, I have that usually every day, but today it ain't blowing. On Clear Lake, it'll probably be real choppy, huh? Huh, so it actually does blow over there in Lake Fort, out on the lake. Oh, yeah, well. So you're lucky along that hill or whatever, so it doesn't get wind. Oh, that might be it. Yeah, all my trees are all leafed out underneath too. Geez. There's so much leaves on that tree. Like that. Oh, darn the luck, huh? Yeah, well, anyhow. Well, at least you got it looking good, I guess, and you're satisfied with it, so that's a good thing. Well, I'm happy when I don't have to do anything. When I have to do something, then I'm not so happy. Yeah, I was thinking about going down the ditch this morning with a weed eater. It's got water down in there and try to weed around everything in the ditch out there. So I took for my walk and came back and looked at it and said, I ain't going to do that now. It's going to be raining again. And I don't worry about that ditch because that's a landfall road, so I'm not worried about the ditch. Yeah, I did. I did yesterday afternoon. I mowed that, so there's some big rocks that I put in there with that golf cart. But I'm thinking about going down with a rake and try to rake some of it back into the track there, but But this battery thing came and that changed my whole thing. Well, I used the Dodge pickup and I need straps. So I didn't want to drive out there, so I need ropes or straps to get to the golf cart. I wasn't going to go out there with this truck, because, heck, I'd really put some stuff in there. Maybe I'd get the truck stuff, and that wouldn't be good either. So I just stayed on the gravel and used them straps he had. He brought about 5 straps with him. I said, well, I guess I'll need a couple, but they'll hook it up and pull me out. Yeah, zero turn, yeah. It just got high centered and I can't raise the deck up. I want to push it with my foot, so I can't hold it up. So it just starts spinning the wheels out there in that mud. And it went down on the deck, The deck wasn't very high off the ground. So it wasn't very stuck, but couldn't get no traction. Spin the wheels. Oh, it's a motor. Yeah, it's got a 23.5 horse Kawasaki gas motor on it, so yeah. Yeah, well, so far so good here. So I'm surprised that the battery's still good enough to turn it over, I tried to put that thing on and start it. It wouldn't smoke it. I go, well, and you took that thing off. And it didn't like it. I tried to boil it out. Really, all of a sudden I got some bleed or something. It's leading up to about 7. Oh, well, anyhow. Yeah, just got some bleed over it. Right. Thing went up to about 7 on this unit, so bleeding pretty hard. Well, Steve was supposed to take his truck down this morning. That guy's going to change out the rear end to lower gears and then do it tonight. And then he's out do some road traveling around. And put 200 miles on for you. He's taking the trim. He's got that Toyota Tundra. Like that Toyota pickup. And then trailer and that other trailer behind that. I said, well, what is your RPMs out there? They're going 70, it's about 1,400 RPMs. I said, come on, that's just islands, yeah. Here's the island. Toyota pickup. Yeah, have a different rear end for them. He said he'd like to get up to about 1,800, 2,070 where I could kill more. Yeah, that's just like island. Yeah, my Dodge pickup here in overdrive 70 is doing 2,000 RPMs or whatever. So, yeah, that's the pickup, that Tundra, yeah, it's the same one. Yeah, it is, ain't it? I don't know, he's having somebody do it, but he knows, so. I just ran over Monday morning, Monday night to Canada. We're going to work it in for a couple hundred miles to the radar. if on new vehicle, you have to do the same thing. E5MX. Yeah, we'll see if Bob's out there. Things to talk about. I'm going to get out of here. I don't know if I'm going to work on that battery thing yet on the golf cart or not anymore after lunch here. I don't know. I feel like I just want to relax. Yeah, I'm going to have to cut some of that framing out of there or something. Pieces sticking up for them batteries. And you're supposed to cut, where that angle iron would make it so they can go slide around, but we got some other pieces that stick up above. Oh my God, I'm going to have to saw them off. I don't know. I have to see what the battery is. See if I put some wood there to set it on or something in there, try to make it so I can put it in there.
was going to make. I've been listening to you guys in and out as I go in and out of the room here for a while. And since I have a hex beam here, and people around the neighborhood, I say it in a joking manner, and they know I'm kidding with it, but I just tell them, well, it's obviously pointed straight up. And since you know I worked for NASA WSMR for all these years, I'm not supposed to be telling you this, but, you know, I'm still doing the work. Anyway, that's something that you could really, I think you said you jokingly tell them that it was your TV antenna or something. Oh, just a bunch of things I've been listening to, and I thought I'd give you a shout. I know you've been on for quite a while. This is a 7300 into a homebrew, a 31000Z. I have that Collins S-line stuff too, but, well, this one's easier. And like you say, that the 7300s, unless we do something really horrible to them, they usually sound pretty good. And you made a comment about Collins CQ, and depending on the signal quality of our transmit and everything, will most likely affect how other people come back to us. I completely agree. And when I'm on 40 meters, I use a one-band amplifier, a 41000, and I get a lot of good compliments on 40 meters from that. But I always tune the cathode. I always go to the full length. And yeah, I know you've been on a long time. I got my general ticket at 63. So we're a bunch of, if we added up all the years we've all been on the air and alive, I'm 75. And, well, I don't know, but I guess it doesn't add up quite that way, though, does it, Tony? I won't hold you here too long if you need to go. But like I said, I've just been listening to you guys off and on. I couldn't hear the other stations at all. But the station before that on Little Heathcote sounded great. Sounded great at this end. KW6LA, WA4QGA. Thank you. Yeah, no, I agree. I've tried different microphones on this. I'm a D104 fan, not of the original D104 and that crystal or ceramic mic, but I have a number of very beautiful conditioned D104s, and I have it on my Collins, the KWM2A 30S1, but it does have the inexpensive condenser electric type mic heads in it, and with a capacitor, resistor, 9-volt battery in the bottom, etc. And yeah, it just brings them back to life. when I've used original D104 type mics, I get the comments that I've heard you say that, you know, you sound pretty thin and you sound vintage. And if I were to go over to that one right now, I would sound different, maybe a little more vintage, but still good, I guess we would say. The DSP is something that's worth having. Comments like you made about having to have the low pass filters and everything to not get on everybody's TV and open their garage door and their intercom and their stereo and everything else. Yeah, we don't have to worry too much about that. I have a fellow that lives in front of me that's really quite smart, and he made a comment one time. I asked my neighbors around. I've been in this house 32 years, so I ask them occasionally, and I always say no. But anyway, I asked him, he said, well, sometimes I do, and sometimes I can't understand you, and sometimes I can. I said, well, it depends on if I'm running single sideband or AM. And he says, but it also matters, it seems, that if I change that cable from my radio or whatever it is up to the earphones, he says, one I can hear you on, one I can't. Now, I actually consider that pretty smart because you're able to, and he made a comment about the quality of it or something. One's an original, OEM type stuff, another one's a cheap knockoff. And I was actually impressed with his analysis of how and why that worked. And I said, yeah, that's right. Little things make a lot of difference sometimes, don't they? And one last comment here, and I won't hold you up here, but you're talking about fixing things. Well, I'm 75. I think I've already mentioned that. And, I fixed everything. We changed our own flat tires. I had a flat just, about a month ago, and it wasn't the easiest thing to do. And I did call my son and grandson to help me and all that kind of stuff. Somebody's at my front door. I don't think they're going to ding-dong me. Anyway, I can hear it over the ring. But I can still change my flat tire. It wasn't easy. Put the spare on, and then it went flat because it was an original spare from 2014. But anyway, so we ended up taking the tire off, taking it down, getting it fixed, come back, changing it all again, and then rolling back down there properly and getting new tires. Funny story about that is I was on my way to Phoenix to pick up a 4CX5 1,000 amp, and I took I took that flat tire to mean that I'm probably not supposed to have that, at least not right now. You know what I mean? And I joked with my son. I said, well, I was going to pay $1,200 for that amplifier, and I got to get a couple of tubes, two 4CX5000s. And I said, and a new set of tires cost me like $1,180. So when, look at the bright side, I saved $20. And, well, anyway, I try to look at life in a positive way. And those are just the funny stories that are rolling across my mind as we talk here, Tony. Yeah, you and I've talked up on a number of occasions. And, I just wanted to jump in here and have another contact with you. It's a beautiful day here in El Paso. It's probably about 75 degrees, no wind. Oh, we've had some horrible wind. Anyway, I could rattle on forever, Tony. It's WA4QGA. Go ahead. No, it's not the 8877. It's not the 3650. It's the 4CX5000. Big Tetra. Go ahead. Absolutely. No, I can't quit building until I can't pick up my screwdriver anymore or whatever, and the drill and what have you. But I brought another cabinet. I got a whole bunch of stuff given to me. I got too many long stories. A good gentleman here in El Paso that's turning 90 years old real soon called me over and gave me a whole bunch of stuff. And one of them was a 5 kVA transformer, 2400 volt, pole-pig type. And I was going to build something out of it. It's just such a monster. I decided, well, maybe something smaller, you know. I need another big amplifier, like I need another hole in the head, as the saying goes. But last night I got to thinking, I said, you know, it's been a really long time since I built anything with 813. So and I got lots of transformers. I'm very blessed or overrun or burdened, I don't know what the word is sometimes, with parts and vacuum caps and the whole 9 yards. Everything to build it with. You know, I might have to buy a chassis here or there from Mouser, but I decided to scale it down a little bit and maybe just build a pair of 813s with the B&W 850A. I'm debating on whether to use vacuum capacitors or open frame, you know, mechanical capacitors, and maybe the open frame. The problem with the vacuum capacitors, which is what I have on this one, and I love them. I got them on all of my radios. You got to have a blasted turns counter. You know what I mean? There's some mechanics involved in there. Oh, and I'll say one last thing about fixing things. Yeah, we had to fix things. I think that's where I was going a while ago. And I'm really pleased to say that my son knows how to fix things. He's very good at it. And I guess he picked it up from the old man. And I mean, I know he can afford to not have to have it. He can afford to have it done. He doesn't try to, you know, swap out refrigerated air stuff. That's a little, you know, you got to have a crane and everything to lift those things off the house. But for everything else around the house, he's, what do you call it, chip off the old block, is that what we call it? Anywho there, Tony, it's a pleasure to meet up with you again. You always have a beautiful signal, and I couldn't pass up just saying hi to you before somebody else grabbed you there. Well, I'll say 73s. I got some things I'm starting to get involved in. Let's see this thing right here. The 1.3 kilowatt PEP output, according to Bird, our power analyst. So that's what I'm running here on a little hex beam. So 73s there, sir. You take care out there, and I hope we meet again here soon. KW6LA, WA4QGA.
The entire half gallon on the way home.
Yeah, I'm a sucker for ice cream too. You know, ice cream, we all scream for ice cream. And yeah, I used to do quite a bit of that. You get a half a gallon and eat it all in one sitting, like chocolate chip or you know, a good flavor that I really like. But I haven't done that for quite a while. I don't think I could hold a half a gallon anymore. Maybe just a pint. But I do like ice cream. Any kid likes it too, for sure. And but I'm on a seafood diet. Seafood, eat food. Boy, if it's in my refrigerator, I'll go for it if it's something I really like to eat. So I got to be careful. Did you ever see that movie, Benjamin Buttons, I think it was called? Who was in that? Who started in that movie? It's on the tip of my tongue. Anyway, he got younger, not older, as time went on. So he died as a baby. Did you ever see that movie?
No, but I think I've seen a movie. Maybe I did, because I do kind of recall a movie like that, or another one like that.
Yeah, I mean, fictitious movie, but kind of interesting. But someday, you might go to the doctor and get a shot of stem cells and start getting younger. I mean, that could happen someday. Technology could take us there, maybe. Then the world will really get overpopulated.
Wouldn't it be weird if they could clone you, and then then they clone you right after you die, and you don't know it, and they take it and then they make you again, and but of course you wouldn't have the same brain and the memories, so you wouldn't know it, But so you have these parents. You start over with parents, but you've been cloned off of somebody else. And they sit you down when you're 13 or 14, and they said, well, we need to tell you that we're not your natural parent. Well, who is my parent? Well, your parent is you. Well, how can that be? I've been to biology class, and it takes a mother and a father. No. You are your parent. They cloned you off of yourself. And you are, and they show you a picture, and you died 13 years ago. The age you are now, and you are actually that person. And he says, well, I don't remember anything. Well, come on, you've got to start remembering, because that's the only way he can remember and live and realize he's got another life to live. And so wouldn't that be weird? Wouldn't that be weird, something like that?
Yeah, there's a lot of things like that you can invent that are weird. And I think that someday science is going to understand a whole lot more about DNA and everything, and who knows what they'll be able to do. Some pretty interesting stuff. Don't identical twins have exactly the same DNA? Is that true?
I don't know if they have exactly. Now, fraternal twins don't. I know that. I think they might. I think they might have that. One thing I've heard with all this AI and everything else, most people thought that they, and there are books on sexual positions and, in movies and legitimate stuff for couples. And they run through every single possible sexual position. But they say one of the exciting things about AI, they figure it could come up with some additional ones.
Yeah, I had to Google that to see it. So do identical twins have the same DNA? It says, while identical twins start with the same DNA sequence, they are not exactly identical. I guess things changed a little bit right after fertilization or whatever. But anyway, that's interesting. Isn't it interesting that they discovered DNA and that, Watson and Crick, I think, discovered DNA a long, long time ago. And that everything is kind of related to all that sequence. And if you were able to modify it and change it, you could probably do anything, right?
Right. Now, you're smarter than I am. What are the initials DNA? What do they stand for?
Something nucleic acid or something like that. I forgot. I know there's A, C, T, and G, and A bonds with C and T bonds with G, but I don't remember what the D stands for. I can look that up real quick. But there's a lot more to it than that. And, gene sequencing and which genes do which things. I think they got a lot to learn about all the different genes. But someday they'll be, I know they can sequence the human genome, and someday they'll be able to understand really how it all actually works.
Well, you have memory chips in computers and things. So these little DNA molecules, whatever they are, remember certain traits to people have had in that generation from years and years ago. So they are a memory circuit, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, what would happen if DNA suddenly, couldn't reproduce, or we'd all go extinct, wouldn't we? And speaking of memory chips, I think it's amazing. You probably remember EEPROM. They don't make them much anymore, but it's all flash memory now. But EEPROMs, where they had the little window where you erase it with ultraviolet light and program it, and those little cells would have electrons stored in a little compartment, and that would be a 1 or a 0, whether it had electrons or not. And it stays that way for years and years and years. Can you believe they can make chips that can do that? I think it's amazing.
That is amazing, and maybe the DNA is set up kind of similar like that. Maybe it's not as complicated. Well, I'm sure it's pretty complicated, and it wouldn't be complicated. Can't you see a doctor calls you and then you have a checkup? I'm really sorry, but I have to tell you, you have Alzheimer's. And he starts sweating and everything. He said, hey, it's not quite as bad as you think. Not good, but not quite as bad. And he said, well, what do you mean by that? He said, well, you aren't going to notice the Alzheimer's. You're going to be just fine. Don't worry about it. But your DNA has Alzheimer's, and it's forgot everything in your family tree. So I know you and your wife are trying to have kids, and none of your traits are going to go to the kids. It's just going to be some random toss of the dice. So you might have... because you both are brilliant and you have your PhDs, you might have some really stupid, ugly kids. Just really, really stupid, fat girls and small, little, skinny boys that can't play sports. Because your DNA will be erased because of the Alzheimer's they have. And you may want to talk to your wife about this and maybe adopt, maybe.
Yeah, it might get to be Sunday. You go into the doctor's office and he says, the doctor says, I'm really, really sorry to tell you this, but you do have Alzheimer's and it's going to get worse. But we have a special going on this month, head transplants, $100,000.
Yeah, and then you go to your bank and say, I've only got $50,000 in savings. I need $50,000 more for a head transplant because I have Alzheimer's and I'm going to be checking out here pretty soon. And the banker says, you've got Alzheimer's? Yeah, but if I get a new head, I won't. He said, well, you've got it now and you want a loan while you've got Alzheimer's. You're a bad risk. We can't loan you $50,000.
Yeah, I think for $100,000 you get a normal IQ. For $50,000, max IQ was only about 80.
Well, can you increase
I think if you go for the enhanced genitals, it's way, way more expensive.
You're boss coming or going, aren't you?
Yep. No way to get around it.
Isn't that the way life is? You think you finally got it made and everything is... right now, for example, we're both fairly comfortable as long as the stock market isn't artificially collapsing on us and we don't have that worry, which we might. But say everything is fine, and we're just as happy as can be, and then we're dead, rotting in 5 years.
Yeah, well, the stock market is artificially collapsing. I don't know, maybe it's coming back a little bit. But that saying, life's a bitch and then you die. Think about that.
Life's a bitch and then you end up in a ditch.
Yeah, for sure. Wow. And, I think about, have you ever walked through the cemetery and read all the headstones and all the dates when people were born and when they died? Boy, it's something to think about, isn't it?
Absolutely. And, a lot of people, even 50 years ago or 100 years, they didn't, they would have been dead 20 years already. 60s wasn't uncommon, 50s.
Wasn't it true, 1,000 years ago? I mean, if you lived to be 30 or 40, you were doing good. I think everybody died a lot younger back then.
Yeah, but then you had another 1,000 years or 3,000 years, and those suckers lived to be 800-900 years old. That's not fair.
Yeah, that's a little confusing how that actually happened.
Think about it. In the Bible, they don't mention women. Noah and Isaiah, I think, was another one, and several others, and even David, as naughty as he was, killing people and everything, and having nasty extramarital affairs, lived a long time. but I don't think it mentions any of his wives or anybody else living that long. Just the guys for some reason.
I'm still trying to figure out how the Virgin Mary was a virgin when she was actually married to Joseph.
That can take a real vivid imagination, I'll tell you.
Yep. Maybe somebody will figure that out for him.
Maybe, if you had an AI computer, I think that's the first thing I would ask the computer. I'm sure it could spit out the right answer.
I should probably get a lot of things answered. My new iPhone supports AI, I think. I haven't really used it very much, but maybe I'll start asking it a few questions.
I think the first question I would ask was John from ANSA, really a good friend, was just putting me on. That would be question number one. And then the second question would be, does God really exist?
Yep. You want me to answer those for you right now?
You know the answer to both of them?
Of course I do.
Oh, no.
Unfortunately, it's classified. I guess so. Yeah, that would carry you up in a hurry, wouldn't it? Are you gonna break it? Yeah, I hear you okay. Can you hear him, Dave? Up and down the coast, whereabouts? South of San Francisco and north of San Diego, right? Okay, I can look you up on the map here. But you're about a S6 or 7? Yeah, S7 or 8 maybe. But Ferndale, I always have to look people up and see where they're from. But I'm surprised you couldn't copy him, Dave, because he's, far away from you.
Yeah, I can't even tell he's in there.
Anyway, you're still 10 over.
Well, did he go already?
Yeah, I think he just wanted a quick signal report. But he was like S7 or 8 or whatever. A lot of it depends on how much power, your antenna, which way you have your antenna pointed, if it's directional. Remember when we were kids, we couldn't even talk at all because we didn't have anything.
I do remember. We tried so hard and we felt so bad about that. I always gasp when somebody did when they're talking to us. And I'm always so happy that I can't hear them, and they probably can't hear me, but they can only hear you. Man, I tell you, the gods are with me on that one.
Well, it's been the other way around sometimes. Did the other station have a comment? I think he was doubled with Dave. Oh, I guess he's not there anymore. There's been times when people have broken in and you could hear them, but I couldn't. My antennas aren't that great.
Okay, hi. I'm on the phone here.
Okay, is that K680A again?
I want to know what frequency you're on because are you in the general band?
We're on 14163. I think that's okay for generals.
I can't go any lower than 225.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that.
Well, how come you're down here now then?
That's probably why you won't give us your call sign, right?
It's kind of an uncomfortable little conversation. That's my buddy who called earlier. he thought we'd be off the air by now. Yeah, he's still on with. He didn't say that, but I'm sure he's thinking that. Hey, I'll call you right back. We're going to sign off here in a second, okay? Okay, bye. I just thought I'd play a little joke on you there. He said, I can't believe it. You just go on and on. What the heck are you guys talking about? You know? Yeah.
Oh, so was that John again on your cell phone?
Yeah, I mean, gee, I thought you'd be off by now. You've been on since 8 o'clock. What the heck are you guys talking? I said, you know what? You don't want to know what we've been talking about for the last hour or two.
Well, you really pulled one off on me there. I thought that was a breaker, and I thought it was a general in the wrong area. I thought he was violating the rules. You got me on that one.
Yeah, I thought that was fun. It kind of slipped, and it just kind of fell that way, but I thought I'd just kind of let it, mold into some kind of a big mushroom or something. Anyway, I realized the things I need to do, and I was going to cut it at 11 o'clock, and I can't believe that seems like I just saw 11 o'clock, and now it's almost 12 o'clock. And we haven't been talking about anything quite as, what do you want to say? It's good for humanity.
Yeah, I mean, we're coming up, 15 more minutes, and it'll be 4 hours, I think. Didn't we start just a little bit before 8 o'clock? So, blabbermouth, that's what we are.
Well, I know we've shoveled more, but we're shoveling the wrong way. I think, I don't know how many shovels of dirt do you think we've shoveled digging down to where we may end up. We need to be making balloons and flying machines, not digging holes in the ground.
Yeah, all the things, the sad thing is that all the things we talked about, if you asked me to write down all the things we talked about, I bet I could only name 2 or 3.
If you wrote down everything we talked about, you probably would never talk to me again.
Yeah, it would become, our awareness would be, oh, wow, did we talk about that? Oh, God, that would be terrible to do that, wouldn't it?
We didn't talk about anything that bad. I can't tell you what we talked about because I didn't write it down.
I can't tell you what we talked about because I can't remember.
I can't tell you because I didn't write it down because I would never write anything like that down on paper.
Now, I have to agree that our cell phone conversations are a little bit more dicey than what we do on air, correct?
Oh, we've been pretty good, just insinuations and a little bit of teasing back and forth. I think we were pretty well within FCC and ARRL standards, I think, to some extent.
Yeah, for the most part, we do mind our manners.
I think so. I mean, we respect the hobby. Well, this has been fun. I enjoy it, even though it was a little bit of, is that the word I'm thinking of, gibberish?
I think that word is appropriate.
Not as inappropriate as some things I've said today.
You've been within certain limits, I guess. You haven't violated anything, at least as far as I can tell.
You are really getting good at just kind of floating through this and just so immaculate about it. I can't tell how you segue so well out of it and don't respond, and yet you're acting like you're answering my question or responding on something I had said, but it's a completely different subject we go off on.
It's called, what is that called? Creative avoidance.
You really are good at that. I mean, seriously, you are. I'm trying to keep you on your toes. I'm trying to throw these things at you to see how quickly you can come up with a creative avoidance.
You've been keeping me on my toes. I'm doing a pee-pee dance about every half an hour.
You know what? I've only gone one time. I can't believe that. Wow. Now, this is the way it is. You go to the doctor and your teeth quits aching. I'm going to go to the doctor and my pee-pee's going to quit aching. And they'll say, well, what did you come in here for? I said, I've been waiting for 2 months. It's 2 months between every appointment at that place. And the first appointment took me 2 months to get it. And now I'm actually pretty normal today because I'm getting close to my appointment.
That's why I don't go.
We've been going all morning.
No, but that's why I don't go to the doctor. Got to make an appointment, wait in line, drive far away, maybe. Wait in the line, finally get served, find out nothing, and then drive home, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I was just being silly when I said you don't go. I knew that it was, I'm not that dumb yet. Anyway, yeah, it's absolutely, I don't like to go to the doctor, and that's why I don't either. But seriously, you need to have that prostate checked a little more often. At this age, that's one of the little things that reduce the lifespan of the male. That prostate, I think that we lose a lot of people to that.
That's what did my neighbor, and he lived to be 1 week before his 96th birthday. But I found out he actually had prostate cancer. So, yeah, that'll catch up to you. If you catch it early enough, I think they can, it's curable. But you wait too long and it's over.
Yeah, two things that you're going to die of, probably cancer and get blown away with a shotgun for screwing around with somebody else's wife.
Those are two things that'll get you. Death and taxes are the way I heard it.
Well, you got taxes. Oh, man, don't bring that up. I paid my house taxes, and it's just getting... Now, you have to pay taxes every year on your property, too, because you own the property. So do you pay it one time a year? I split it into 2 times a year.
Yeah, I could pay it 2 times a year, but I just pay it all just to get it off my plate. I pay it once, usually in around, like October, I think, or something like that. I pay it all in one shot. But I think you can split it up into 2 payments. But, every time I pay that, I ask myself, well, what did I get for it this time?
Yeah, well, I really I did get a little reduction on my age and everything, and income, a little reduction, so it helps a bit. Not that much, but a little bit. You know what now? I have to go so bad I don't think I'm going to be able to get out of my chair.
That could be a problem.
Indeed. Hey, it's been fun. I hope I didn't go too far. I'm just kind of in a silly mood today for some reason. Especially after I spent about $5,000 cars. They spent the same amount, so we're about even Steven. They got, you can get a pretty good car for around 9 or 10,000. I think it's a good one. Hope so. You never know when you buy a used car, but this one looks really, really good. I'll have to send you a picture of it when really, really a clean one. Looks brand new. Looks like a brand new car, inside and out.
Well, I hope you did get a good one. A lot of people, it used to be you could go into a car place and get a compressor check and everything, and really, but I don't think anybody does that much anymore these days. But anyway, hopefully you got a good one. It'll run forever. Anyway, it's been good, and we're just a few minutes to 4 hours here. But wow, we've been crazy. All the crap we talk about. Anyway, you have a good one and enjoy, and I'll catch you again on next Monday. Back over to you, W7MBR, WA6TQT. I guess I'll just listen out.
Well, I just one last comment. You can comment back real quick, and I'll tell you goodbye. I really enjoyed talking about all the crap we've been talking about today.
Crap. What does crap stand for again?
Wouldn't you know, I think this somebody's watching. You went down to about a 3 there for a minute.
Oh, I can't find my foot switch. My foot switch, I bought a real heavy one. It still moves around. Hang on, I gotta get it back into position here.
That's what she said.
Yeah, get back into position. Whatever. Boy, you got a one-track mind today, don't you?
Yeah, but you pick up on it pretty quickly.
Yeah, I've been trying to avoid it, but you keep shooting at me. It's hard to get out of the way here.
Yes, I have to admit I'm pretty slick at it, aren't I?
Yeah, pretty slick character. Good thing you're not a con artist.
That'd be a good one, I know that. You can't always tell by looking at a car how it is on the inside. And conversely, you can't tell that on a human either. I look like a an innocent old grandpa. Oh, he's a little sweet old man. And you know darn well I'm rotten on the inside.
Yep, and we're both getting worse with age, and it's never going to change. Not going to get any better. Have a good one. I'll see you next week.
I had fun. I hope I haven't, gone beyond the point of no return here. Anyway, great getting back with you, et cetera, et cetera. Maybe before we die, we'll have to meet up at least one time, I hope. 73, and we'll do it next week. W86TQT, W7MBR.
Okay, you'll have, we'll see you next week. If you ever hear dead air out of me, then you'll know you crossed the limit.
Well, if I ever smell dead air out of you, that will be crossing the limit too. Maybe I'll notice that in person.
Yeah, that's maybe why if we ever decide to meet each other, we should be careful what we eat first, right?
Absolutely. Hey, have a good one. Take care.
See you later. WA6TQT is clear.
MR in Lincoln, where all tacos are now gone.
It's pleasantly small. I would have enjoyed seeing that car. Mine was a 67. A number super sport. Anyway, I remember that much of it. Metallic blue, a lighter metallic blue. Blue interior. And when I got it, it had a standard-out transmission in it. You used 3 gorillas and an elephant. If I was on it, they couldn't get it in the second gear. Above about 4,500 RPM. That transition went away. Real quick. Anyway, that's fun. I really like to see it. You take care. Have a very good day. In Sacramento. Good morning.
Well, good morning to you, Brian, and everybody on the net who can hear me with my 800 watts. Now, I'm getting a few hundred watts out more than a couple of hundred watts more than I do my old amplifier. I don't know what makes a difference, but it's kind of nice to see the needle move a little further. Well, I'll comment on that car. You know, it's quite a while ago now, but when was it? Early 90s, maybe? Here to get a fast start. So anyway, we got you checked in and sounded good, Nick. 77.
AI-7, EZL. K7, RCZ. KN1, KER. And thank you, Robert. N7, UBL. And good afternoon, you, Michael. Thank you, AE7L. K7KEC. K7DB. K2MFX. K2MFK. AL7G. WY7SLH. And thank you, Steve. S7IZ. Thank you, Gary. K7AIM. And thank you, Lem. K7BWO.
doing well here too, Clark. Nice to hear you on and have a wonderful day. Hey, W7DWF. K7KMZ. KB7FBR. KF7OQOXD. That's a QXD. Sorry about that. take the traffic from Tom. Get that over with, please.
Hey, very good. This is message number 207. So Delta 7 was right. Check 18. Mill Creek, Utah. May 5. Traffic report for April 5 X-ray originated freight.
Okay? So you're running about S9. Okay, well, very good. We got you checked in. That was Ed out of Fresno. Whiskey 6, Echo Delta Charlie. Anybody else? So the Jefferson Unit, come out. Okay, thank you for the reminder, Al. Whiskey Alpha 6, Tango Echo Papa. Bill in Huntington Beach, are you there? Okay, well, very good, Bill. I called you earlier and I didn't hear a response, so I thought, well, maybe you had an appointment or something, so. But anyway, we got you checked in, and you're 5 over S9 too, Bill. Sounding good. And the question of the day today, have you heard of any home break-ins in your neighborhood? I bet that was. Wow. Anyway, and they took them away. Okay, 73 to you, Bill. That was Bill out of Huntington Beach. With
Steve. I got you 5 and 8 Texas. All right, well, hang on just 1 second. We'll have you do a little dishing. Hey, Mike, are you in Southwest Arizona? Okay, I wanted to be sure that was you, because I tell you what, you've come out of the noise. You're 59 plus here in Texas, Mike. Oh, yeah, you actually peaked 10 over. All right, let me send it back up to Oregon. Steve's going to look and see if we missed anybody. Go ahead, Steve. All right, jump mail. Somebody's wanting me to pay for a toll road. Now, I don't have no toll roads down here. KC2, we love radio. Can you hear me? Pass it up. That's kind of how we roll here. I heard about 5 or 6 stations all the way in Arizona, Death Valley, and of course Richard in Florida. So it's working pretty good for you, man. I appreciate you joining us. Let's see, there's somebody else I think tried to check in. This is K-File, one of the net control operators for the activity group. Is there someone trying to check in there? starting to think, in town they're having all kinds of crime and stuff, but that's because they bought that one. It's starting to store again. Don't want to give up any names, but it's either hanging on the wall. But otherwise, out here so far, not too bad, but there's the majority of the people that live here and retired here are all officers.
Well, that makes it even nicer, so you can keep kind of a neighborhood watch going. All right, thank you for stopping by this afternoon, and you enjoy the rest of your day.
Well, likewise to you, and thank you for you.
Jerry is W6DST. He hosts the Roundtable Friday at 12:30, so hang around after the net, and you'll hear from him again.
thanks to everyone who tuned in. Just getting some stuff done. 73, y'all. Hold on.